All right, do you need to test mic levels here? We're good? All right. Good. Test, 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 test. Good? We're good with that? Test. Can everyone hear me? Yeah? Awesome. Woohoo!
Is there anything more appropriate than the badge team like sauntering in at 10:05 to their own talk?
And working on slides walking up here.
In all fairness, this is 2 cons in a row where we've actually built the slide deck on the escalator. I don't know why you're laughing.
All right, is anyone else coming up here?
Should have BP and Katie. Don't know they ran out too. Brian hiding.
BP's over there.
BP, get up here.
He's handing out mini badges. Katie, you coming up here?
Whopper.
Can't see. I guess she's handing out mini badges too. All right, well, yeah, it's 10:05. We can get started. Welcome to the badge talk. So, badges are hard, like ridiculously hard. So, yeah, we're going to do this a little bit differently. It's kind of a panel because otherwise it ends up like I'm up here and other people have things to say and then they're all down there and no one can see what's going on. So, here's most of the badge team.
We're missing one. Come on.
All right, so, for those who don't know, I'm CompuKid Mike. This is Clipper, Vortex, Redacted, BP, and Mike's wife. That is a self-assigned handle. It's not me. That was her choice. So, let's talk about logistics. We placed on boards 178,200 components this year. It's a ridiculous amount. And we had all kinds of fun things this year, like the USB cables. I ordered 2,000 of them, and it took weeks and weeks, and then a big box showed up, and I opened it up, and there were only 1,000 in there. And I messaged the seller on AliExpress, and I said, "Where's the other 1,000?" And they replied, "Oh, do you actually want those?" Yes. Yes, I want those. Did we put that picture in here?
I don't have it. Sorry.
Okay. So I said, yeah, I want them. They're like, well, we've got a holiday next week, and we got to, have them produced and whatnot, so it'll be a couple weeks before we can ship them. And this was about 3 weeks before the conference. So luckily they showed up last Thursday, just in time to get them into bags. Yeah, let's see. Oh, did we get that video?
Yeah, I got it. It's not in the slide deck. It's Discord.
Oh, all right. Then we will grab that in a minute.
Actually, I'm going to work on slides while I'm up here.
Cool. Then, while he's doing that, I'm going to, connect to Wi-Fi. I'm going to kill my screen for a minute. No, maybe. Do you guys have a way to blank my screen? Beauty. Mm-hmm. So we want to talk about quality control and what goes into that, because it's a lot. When you've got a badge with, what did we decide, 57, 59 parts? something like that. A ridiculous amount of parts that are very tiny, and there's 10 on a panel, so you got like 600 parts that you've got to visually inspect. It can be difficult for a human to do that. So we got a new machine. It's called an AOI, Automated Optical Inspection, and it goes through and checks all the parts for us. It's got a bunch of high-resolution cameras, different lighting angles, and it goes through and visually inspects every part and solder joint and makes sure that it's right. Yeah.
The fun part about that machine is it's not smart enough to just hand it a pick file and say, go look at these components. It should be, but considering the documentation was written roughly the same time AOL was giving out 500 free hours, it wasn't great. So what we ended up having to do is actually get one board that was perfect. So we had Katie hand solder one that was perfect, and then I used it to train to look at all the other boards. And there was the IR emitters on the end would never, they would never say it's okay. Like they'd always say they're wrong even though they were right. It took roughly, I think, 17 hours. Is that how much I spent on it? I spent 17 hours programming that thing in Windows XP?
XP,
yeah. And I put it on the internet and it crashed. I don't know why.
We've spent basically the last 2 weeks fixing, repairing all the boards, making sure they're all ready, assembling them. So many late nights. So one of the things we ran into this year was issues with our pick-and-place machine because, for those of you who don't know, all of our machines have names because we like to yell at them when they do stupid things. Our pick-and-place machine's name is Pick and Rick because it acts like a drunk old man, and we hate him. Lots of issues we had with that, and I'll show some pictures later, but we tried some new feeders for it to make it a little bit quicker. It ended up making things worse, and so we ended up way behind. Katie and I spent a week or so trading off shifts so that we could run it 24/7 to get everything done in time for the conference. So the last few weeks have been rough. Thanks. So let's talk about software. Vortex did pretty much all of the software because he's amazing.
And he wore black just for you guys today.
Indeed.
So almost 35,000 lines of code that he wrote. So good. And the best hardware test we have ever had on a badge. Amazing.
Yeah, if you haven't done it yet, turn your badge on and then just hold on the screen for 5 seconds.
Yeah, diagnostics
just
for
on the
every bit of
logo.
it. What's that?
Just on the logo, just press and hold for about 5 seconds.
And it would actually load that screen upon first boot up, so it had a flag that it was the first boot up, and so every time we'd put them together, if the screen went green, we'd pass it down the line. If it went red, it went back to Katie to cry over.
And it was very frustrating dealing with bugs. So many crashes and hangs.
Yeah, the badge never crashed, right?
Yeah, it was smooth as can be, right? Everything was great.
I mean, I've never turned mine on, so it's perfect.
You're gonna get a firmware update.
Okay, API. Redacted wrote all the backend server side everything, which has been awesome.
We're going to share some more stats during closing ceremonies, but we tracked everything. Some of you are really bad. Like, really bad.
Clipper, you want to talk about infrastructure?
Oh yeah, infrastructure. So we run BadgerNet on a separate from the SAINTCON network, just so we don't interfere with each other. We never wanted to hurt the con experience, and vice versa with the badges. By and large, it was a repeat of last year. We actually went down to about 14 access points that ran all of BadgerNet. It's a balancing act, right? It's running on 2.4 gig. Obviously, the ESP32 isn't the most robust of wireless solutions. And so less is more in a lot of cases. The biggest constraint I have is the actual amount of airtime I have with the frequencies. Since there's only 3 channels that I can actually use, everyone else in the communities have their own 2.4 stuff they're standing up. So basically, it's a war of attrition, and it works by and large. Still struggles, but it works by and large. And then we have a full warm standby set of hardware stack in case something were to go wrong. We actually just go and swing 2 cables, and we'd be on the backup stack. So we didn't have to do that this year, or last year, actually.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. So, the other fun thing we did this year is the towers, which, fun for you guys probably.
Did you like the towers? Okay, what was the best tower?
The bikes?
The bikes? Okay, the bikes. Let's talk about the bikes. You are clever. So I don't know if you know, we went and bought top-of-the-line exercise bikes for this project. You might have noticed we got them from a very fine retailer of goods and services called Deseret Industries. So we had bought these Bluetooth cadence sensors that we were going to bolt onto the arms, because I'm a cyclist, so I'm like, I'll just throw a cadence sensor on there, talk Bluetooth, low energy, it'll be easy peasy. I got the Bluetooth stack all set up on one of the ESPs, and I couldn't run anything else because it was full. There was no other room for it, so I couldn't run the rest of the stuff. And so I'm sitting there frustrated, didn't know what to do. Michael walks over and he goes, and just like grabs one of the exercise bikes and rips the cables out of it. And I was like, okay, this was new. He grabs his multimeter, puts it on pedals, and he goes, look, it's a pulse counter, go. And I was like, oh, there we go. And so basically, we just grabbed the 2 wires, hooked them onto GPIO pins, and counted the pulses. Now, the 3 bikes, since we got these same quality bikes and they were very similar, they used the same pulse counts. Not. One did 1 per rotation, one did 2 per rotation, and the other one did 4 per rotation. So once we got that figured out and all squared away, the original plan was to say, hey, all 3 of them have to be pedaled at a certain cadence that was going to be randomized each round. Well, what happened is we got a little bit behind, and we begged the conference center for some more time to put it together. So I went up there, and I said, hey, let's just get it as close as I can. For funsies, I said, any bike, if it hits 85 RPM, it'll unlock the tower, right? Well, I was going to come back the next morning and wire up the 7-segment displays to show like what cadence you're supposed to be and all that good stuff. Well, Redacted comes up and he goes, dude, you got that tower working last night. I'm like, no, I didn't. He goes, no, it's on level 12. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's like, there's like 40 people pedaling those bikes. I'm like, I was like, why? It doesn't work. He's like, dude, it's on level 12. It's been working. And I'm like, okay. And one of you clever people brute forced the cadence that you needed and just tried a bunch of cadences. And I didn't realize one of the bikes had a cadence sensor, like an RPM sensor on it, so they could actually get the feedback. And then they started writing notes on the tower saying, don't pedal this one, you only need 1. I was like, shoot. And then BP kept going up and saying, hey, turn the resistance up, it gives you more experience. It did not. So, fun experience with that one. That one was amazing. Did anyone get to try the PBX tower with the rotary encoder and the phones? Yeah, so that one's downstairs. You should give it a try. I recorded 200 sound clips of Clippy, and you have to navigate his IVR. My voice was gone for like 3 days, and I actually handed all those clips over to the AI Village, and they're actually going to deep fake Clippy, so we'll be able to do it going forward without me destroying my voice. But VP, talk about the lockpick tower. That one was wicked. And BP doesn't like talking, he likes being in the shadows, so having him on stage and making him talk is my favorite thing I've ever done.
So the lockpick tower, that was just kind of a wing it as I went through, and yeah, just one panel at a time, just trying to figure out how many locks we wanted to try and do, and it was just all custom fabricated, easy, I don't know, easy stuff.
Easy, just custom CNC programming on his plasma cutter for weeks and weeks and weeks. And ripping the steering wheel off his actual car. That is the steering wheel off his John Cooper Works Mini.
That is true. Yeah, it is true.
And we bought a club. Who knew you could still buy the club? Fun fact, you can defeat the club by squeezing it really hard. Yeah, y'all tried to pick it, didn't you?
Fun fact, he built all of the towers. This guy did right here. Can we give him applause? Because that's a lot of metal.
Yeah, they weigh about what are they up to? About 250 pounds each. The lockpick tower is nearly 400. If you actually open the door on the back, we actually enclosed in all the mechanisms so you couldn't mess with them. Yeah, it was pretty skookum. Yeah. And when they go to tip and they go to fall on you, they're really heavy.
All right. The very last. Oh, not very last. Vending machines. Vending machine. One of them worked this year. Worked really well.
Does anyone know how many people said LineCon was a complaint last year?
A lot.
Well, LineCon was a thing, but we literally we're killing LineCon this year. But it's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
And until the IR I decided to die every morning at 8 for no reason, worked pretty well.
And I got the firmware updated just in time because there was not a shop on the badge. Did I lose it? There was not a shop on the badge the day before.
That's true.
There was not code for that shop on there. So.
Yep. Yeah, and what was the feature? Yeah.
Yeah, it was added just in time to get
Yeah.
the vending machines working.
Yep. Yeah, so the first day when you couldn't mess with the vending machine at all, we didn't have a shop on the badge either. So
Yeah, none of that
Totally
code
fine.
was written.
did that all, was that Monday night, Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts.
4 a.m. is a good bedtime, right? Or 5? What time was
You guys slept?
it? Right.
Actually, a tower ended up in someone's hotel room last night. I don't know how that happened. Set it up and hack in the box. Say, hey, have fun with the tower. I get a text at 4 a.m. saying it went home with someone. I'm like, okay.
Okay. Oh, before we go into the comic book, Redacted was amazing and wrote all the vending machine code on Monday because we had not gotten to the vending machines again. Sorry, I had not gotten to the vending machines again. That's on me. And Redacted was nice enough to figure that out. Keen helped as well. Thank you, Keen, if you're out here. But yeah, awesome work. Oh no, where are we at? Okay. So, comic book. Who actually read the comic book? Yes, awesome. It was worth it. So, the comic book was the brainchild of Clipper and Chris, or Sarastrom. I don't know if he's up here. But they were like, we need a comic book and it will be awesome. And then they storyboarded it and wrote up all the story and dialogue and everything. And we got an artist to create all the artwork for it and got them printed just barely in time. It was awesome. You know,
It's funny. It was on Fiverr is where we found it, and I probably did 30 or 40 different, trying to find one that liked the style. I think my favorite part though is in the storyboard it says, hey, the ClippyNet bad guys or the goons are going to show up in a vehicle that looks akin to a Cybertruck, and he just drew a Cybertruck. It's like, all right.
all right. Yeah, stuff that isn't the badge. So if any of you noticed, the toppers on the towers that hold the little LED panels were all 3D printed. 30 spools of filament. So I used my bamboo printer, and then Clipper used his and his friends and his families. And how many do we have running?
We were up to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yeah, 6 printers total.
We had my Prusa going the
your
whole
Prusa.
time.
Yeah, so basically, they should have never have given me the logins to their Bamboo accounts. Actually, my dad went on a cruise, and I like went to his house and grabbed it and took it over to my house. And I was sending him well, he has, bamboo. You can look at the printing. He goes, "Why does the lighting look different in my office?" I'm like, "That's weird."
Yeah. So thanks to Clipper, we had some more consistent theming this year, which is awesome to have across all of the badge stuff and some more of the conference stuff, which should hopefully get better in coming years. So many Little Caesars pizza orders. And for those of you who have not tried their little crazy puff things, so good. So good. Yep, lots of those. We're not going to talk about labor hours, but multiple people's phones did update to say that their work location was my house. That's how often people came over to work on stuff. And a huge thanks to our friends, loved ones, spouses, children, everyone who put up with the last few months of us being missing. Okay, so some timeline. We apparently started this in November. That's okay. So, yeah, let's see. That was when we first figured out what type of game we wanted to do, and then we all got sick. And then
We all got COVID like that week. We were all like dead.
Yeah.
But the idea was we want to do an epilogue story from last year, because if you remember last year, Final Fantasy I was kind of the inspiration of that. And we were talking. We said, "Hey, do we really want to do like a I'm not going to say the word, but a train little digital monsters to fight for you style game?" I'm not going to say a word because I don't want to get sued. So we're like, "Hey, we want to build this," and Katie, set up the official badge team meeting. BP joined us in January because we had the idea to actually start building some big stuff. And then we had our first official badge meeting in January, and that was actually the first prototype of the badge right there.
Yep.
It had bumpers, didn't it?
Yeah, it had little side buttons and a joystick, and it was. I think we were kind of still thinking about wrist mount at that point, weren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
And then we got an epilogue for last year's badge.
Who was surprised by that we released a firmware after the con like 3 months? Who's remembered we could find where the code was and figure out how to do it?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, and who was really surprised that we actually, had sound working on that firmware update 3 months after the con?
If you get the new firmware and turn it on, you'll actually hear the "Hey, listen" from last year through the speaker.
Yeah, who actually turned the badge and updated?
Yeah, and BP and Mini BP were the first ones to actually go through the epilogue and play it, which is awesome. The tool storage holy war begins on January 25th. Yeah, it's still going, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think it's ended.
It's mostly a stalemate because we all know pack out is the best.
Okay. So, yeah, we kind of figured out how we're going to transition from last year's story into this one, and had some meetings, and yeah, we're going to train AI monsters. That was our thing, right? Mini badges were going to be different AIs, and you were going to train them, and it was going to be interesting. And then I decided that was a terrible idea. So this is apparently a quote from me. So basically, I realized we're just building a terrible Game Boy because we don't have the development time for building a Game Boy, right? And it was going to be complicated, and people were just going to sit there playing on their own and doing this thing and not interacting with each other, and that's not the point of a badge. That's the point of a Game Boy. So decided that wasn't going to work. And surprisingly, all the team backed me up on that. Which was surprising because I don't think the original idea for that game was mine. So,
No, me and Chris had thought up it, and then when you said that, we were like, yeah, we basically missed the mark.
yeah, so we shifted ideas completely. And so then we went more towards a Go version of what we were thinking about before. So we would have towers that you would go and everyone would, compete against or compete for control of the tower, right? And then we kind of shifted it again after that to fighting against Clippy, and we also kind of ditched the AI monster thing completely. So, by the way, apologies, most of these slides I did not make. My wonderful friend Clippy here made them, so I didn't have to make them while I was walking up the escalator. So
So yeah,
also
really,
reading
like
these.
we pivoted from a single player to co-op, and we did not like the idea. So last year we made a lot of mini badges, like a lot, and we didn't want to do as many this year. We still made a lot. But the one thing that we thought was the most fun is the stats redacted pull for us at the end of the game last year. So we really leaned heavily into stats this year. So we'll share some more in a bit, but we tracked everything, and we actually wanted to be skill-based. So I don't know if anyone knew this or figured this out, but based on how quickly you completed your stratagems is how much damage you did. So if you were faster and accurate, you'd do more damage. If you were slower and inaccurate, you did less damage. Who also knew that if you gave your mini badge to someone else, you got the experience from it. So if you were lending out your mini badges, you were getting the XP they were grinding for you. I gave you a hint. Remember when he's had the most promiscuous mini badge last year? I think like 4 people did that.
Is it automatic, or do you have to get the mini badge back?
You have to get it back.
So you have to get it back to get those XP from it.
Yeah, so we penalized the people that stole mini badges because we had a few go missing.
Yeah. Is that all right? So yeah, in March, Vortex joined to do software, and Clipper made the very first version of the stratagem game, and that's still up.
Yeah, it is.
So if anyone wants to go play it with a keyboard instead of a touchscreen. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
We'll talk after.
Yeah, so this was the first KiCad prototype of the badge. And from that point, it was wrist-mounted, capacitive touchscreen. It didn't change a whole lot from that point. And that was the prototype in April. So yeah, it's been pretty much that the whole time. And we had working code. And yeah, that was the first prototype, wired up. You can see we moved those wire connectors to the back because you could not actually reach the release button on them without hitting the screen. And as we all know, don't stick things inside the badge, right? So you may also notice at that point there were 6 wires because we needed power. The standoffs were not powered at that point. That was a later addition, which I think worked out pretty well. So, yeah, good. Oh yeah, middle of May.
Yeah, I was just hanging out, and I literally just said, hey, I'm hanging out if anyone wants to discuss or work on something. We talked for like 6 hours that night and started drawing the workflow of actually how the game would work with like not flow charts, whatever those are.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are. And we just cranked on it and cranked on it and cranked on it, built this. I'm like, we are doing good. We built this documentation. But that's all we built. We didn't do any like supporting glossary or anything. So when we picked it back up like a while later, like crap.
Like, what did this mean? Yeah. Oh, and then clippy-net.lol at the end of May. Who actually went to this website and saw it? A few people?
Did you ever find out what was on that website? We had leaked the entire badge, form factor, size, powered pins, all that stuff, and it was sitting on that website the whole time.
Yep. So, oh, is that? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I don't think we have a picture of that drawing, do we?
Which one?
The drawing we released. Well, if anyone hasn't seen it, shortly after this, a couple weeks after this, Jupiter famously leaked that document on Discord. So at that point, we just threw it up on the SAINTCON website under the Badge Life community. So, I mean, we created a press release for MK Factor getting acquired by ClippyNet in what year?
2049, I think, 20 something.
2049. Kind of hinting at the time jump of the story. And then we also we found an engineering drawing from MK Factor showing the original ClippyNet wrist communicator prototype. And yeah, it had dimensions and pinouts for power and how the screws worked and how the clip-ons worked so that people could make their own things and all their add-ons. All right, we saw those pictures. And then we're like, you know, we got this wrist-mounted thing, and there's only 2 mini badge slots. We need to figure out how we're going to do more mini badges because people aren't going to be okay with 2. So I'm like, we'll make the extender USB powered, and that can be worn on a lanyard, and then they can just run the wire over to it. It's fine. So, I mean, it kind of works, right? You could kind of run the cable up the lanyard a little and down your arm. I don't know, did anyone actually do that? Yeah? A few people?
We did it for you. You were seen.
And I also kind of wanted to walk around, you know, with like wires everywhere and stuff, and then I never put on my badge. So, all right, so this is not a video. This is the solder paste printer. And that was the back of the boards, doing the connectors on the back. Okay, so for those who don't know, these boards have parts on both sides, which means you run them through assembly twice. You run them through, you put parts on one side, run it through reflow and everything, inspection, and then you flip them all over and you do it again. The problem is our reflow oven was very, very hot and started cooking the connectors on the back when they ran through the second time. So we tried quite a few different things. My son even went so far as making a little wireframe jig that had little covers over where those connectors were to run it through the oven, and it still wasn't enough. So we spent hours at the reflow oven changing settings, changing temperatures, checking things. Clipper's there holding a thermal camera so we can see which zones are heating up which parts. And in the end, we turned off all of the lower heaters and just ran the upper ones extra hot to get it to fully melt the top without cooking the connectors on the bottom. Because the problem was they would go through and they would look okay, slightly darker shade of beige. But the problem is if you would push on the release button for the wire, it would just crumble and crack, and then you couldn't release the wires anymore. So yeah, quite a few hours spent tweaking that to get it to where it would work, and it worked pretty well after that.
If anyone's curious, that machine's called Big Deborah.
Indeed. Yeah, some of the process and so many boards. Oh my gosh. So, as I mentioned, we had issues with Pick and Rick and the feeders. And this is one of the parts that this was its favorite part to spit out all over the floor. So this part, it's hard to tell from the picture, this cup is about that big around, and these parts are what, 2.5, 3 millimeters across?
About.
Yeah, with, what is that? 12 pins on the bottom. So yeah, I think we ended up hand placing a little over 200 of these that we had to dig out of the machine and pick up off the floor. And
Orientation matters.
oh yeah, orientation matters. So yeah, that was super fun.
And their workshop's got one of those cool epoxy floors with like the speckles in it.
I am sorry.
After about
It was really pretty at the time.
the third hour of on my hands and knees finding this, I'm like, why did you do this?
Because I like color.
On the plus side, you can't tell if it's dirty.
I'm still pulling these out of like crevices, I'll be honest. They're stuck all over us.
So I decided we should not hand everyone half-charged badges. So part of our assembly process was go plug in 50 at a time and let them charge for a couple hours, and then unplug 50 cables and put them in a box and do it again, over and over and over again for weeks while we were assembling badges. So hopefully most of them came fully charged. Speaking of, who noticed that the badge doesn't charge if it's turned off? Yeah.
We noticed it at this point as well.
Yep.
Yep.
So this turns out to be, and I should have grabbed a picture of the data sheet, the battery/power management chip that we used has a terrible data sheet. And one of the things that it doesn't tell you, so most data sheets have what's called an application schematic, where it shows you the chip and all the connections and external components and the normal way that the chip is used and hooked up to things. And so you can pretty much just take that, put that in your schematic, and it should work. Well, one of the lines on it was CE, charge enable. And it shows that wire goes over to your microcontroller. Great. And we hooked that up, and it worked great. And it worked on both prototypes, and everything was great. And then we assembled these ones, and they don't charge when they're off. And if you, in the data sheet, go down to one very small line, it says this pin must be tied to ground for it to charge. So that's why these ones don't charge, is whatever difference there is between the prototype and the final version of ESP32 chips that we got, that pin doesn't go down to ground when it's off. It kind of floats around and does whatever. So for some reason, yeah, the first ones didn't, and we still haven't figured out why. I need to go take the caps off some of them and see what the difference is, but yeah. So one of those fun little bugs that we just didn't find until the production version, yeah. Firmware updates. They worked way better this year than last year, yeah? Yeah. So Vortex spent a lot of time digging through the OTA code and optimizing and making it better and using the best, what was it, a bunch of buffer settings for OTA and all that?
Yeah, I had to make sure that the buffer that it was using for storing the data in memory as it was downloading matched the same size that it was actually writing to the flash. And it made it a lot faster and smoother and better.
Yeah, so last year they were taking 5 to 10 minutes. Testing, outside the conference center, it was about 30 seconds. With congestion here, a little slower, but still quite a bit better. Some pictures of the comic book. I still have not seen an actual physical one.
Oh, yeah. I haven't looked at it either.
Oh, here's our list of towers that we created, our whiteboard of what they were going to be and who's making them and where they're going, and then some of those got taken away and rewritten and changed, and some of our bin of tower corners for the toppers.
Those were 24-hour prints, by the way. So each print would do one, and it had all the parts for one, and it was a 23-hour and like 48-minute print, more or less.
And about a kilogram of plastic. So there's all the toppers. You can see we planned on more towers. So, yeah.
I threw this. Sorry, BB. He drags this sucker over at like, I think I got a text at like 1:30, and he goes, "You up?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Of course.
He's like, "I got something for you." I'm like, "Okay." And he shows up with this. I'm like, "What is that?" I think it was the first time we saw one fully like put together, and we're like, "Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool."
Yeah, super awesome. So yeah, we threw a topper up on there. One of the things we noticed right away when we first built the topper is it's a little hard to see. Like, kind of hard to see what's going on. You don't get much definition out of that. And for those who saw the LED wall last year, it looks fine when you're not close to it, right? And that's what these panels were designed for. Long distance viewing in a big arena and whatnot. When you're 5 feet from it, it doesn't look so great. So it's like, okay, we got to do something about this. So I started, I don't have a picture of that. I 3D printed some prototypes of white plastic diffusers, and we're like, yep, that has to be what happens. So then we redesigned the corners and printed many, many diffusers to go on those, and they look awesome.
So this is the PTZ camera that never, or the PTZ tower that never made it to fruition, but we love the design so much we at least want to show you what our idea was. So that's an inset holder for a terrible display. Like, I think it's like 480i.
Oh yeah, it's from like one of those old car DVD players.
Yeah,
sets.
yeah, you remember those,
Yeah.
the DVD players that has a swollen battery and is going to burn your house down someday? You're laughing. So what that is that's inlaid of what, like 3 inches? 5 inches? And so the idea was there was a joystick on each side of that tower, and each joystick would control an axis, but they were inset so far you couldn't see what you were aiming. So the person looking through the porthole would have to like guide the person that's driving it, was the idea. And then we were going to change the axes of the joysticks every 10 seconds.
I think last night someone said we're not sadistic. I don't know about that.
That's just because we didn't have enough time.
And
Yeah.
And so on the other side, we had a 7-segment display, and then we had inside a camera on a PTZ mount. And you'd have to drive the camera that was equally low quality and find the correct code and then type it in on the entry pad. The entry pad was a Morse key. Keep that one in the back of your mind. It might come back.
Yeah. Oh, our initial tower prototype, yeah. Yeah, little port expander, the ESP32 there. Yeah, some lights.
And you guys are terrible at Simon. Like, just awful. It's been beat like 9 times at all. And the funny thing is we made it so you couldn't reach all the buttons. So even if you hug the tower from a corner, you can't reach them all. So you have to do a collaborative Simon. But I didn't see anyone with a notepad that just wrote them down.
Or write them on the tower.
Or write them on the tower.
Oh. Yeah. Is that you? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know you cut that out. Sweet. So, yeah, this was the easy button tower over by Badge Life. We wanted one that was super simple, right? So that, people new to the game could come in and try it out and test things. And so this was one that we hacked and reverse engineered, the ClippyNet tower. And so we cut it open and made a big gaping hole in it, and then tried to make it safe to touch-ish. That's the inside of policy. So many wires. It's a bit of a mess, but it works.
Did anyone play the policy tower at Hack in the Box last night? It's down there too, working if you want to see it.
Yeah?
How long did it take y'all? Did you have a final time? Was it 3 hours? Close to 3 hours? So the best thing is we went to go get sushi, and we're walking by, and everyone's like hammering it, and they're like, "Well, try to push all the buttons. We'll spell a word," and the books are all closed. I'm like, "Books?" So we all just laugh and leave, and we come back, and I think Keho just looked at me, and he had this like vein popping out of his head. He's like, "What is this thing?" But they'd kind of clued on the idea that it was the copy protection from the like late 90s, early 2000s, where you'd have the manual of the game, and it'd say, "Hey, look up, page 3, paragraph 6, whatever." And so once they figured that out, they started scribbling on the tower, figuring out by process of elimination which was which, and they eventually got it, and it was hilarious. But the funniest part on the policy tower by far is we had Chris go through and find the words for us because I didn't want to look through a textbook. And I'm compiling the word list and getting it in the code, and there's a dash in one of the words, like a hyphen, right? I go, "Chris, we're cutting 26 holes in 11-gauge steel and wiring up individual buttons. Do you think I'm going to wire up a dash button?" And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I'll fix it." He never did. Guess what? It's still in there. You'll just miss that one.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was us dragging that policy tower. Is that the first time we dragged it over there?
Yeah, that's the first time. Fun fact about this photo, since the policy tower and the PBX tower and one more, the ESP was really struggling to run that, so we actually rewrote the entire badge code on Wednesday night in the hotel room. We stayed up till about 5 a.m., rewrote it completely, shifted to a Raspberry Pi. Oh, there's 322.
Wasn't quite done.
Yeah, Redacted helped me get the pulse counter working for the PBX tower. It was literally the first time we've ever said, "Hey, we've got these towers, they're not working, let's just do what it takes," and we rewrote our code overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. Many, many late nights over at the Hyatt, dragging towers back and forth. Yeah. So this lovely gentleman brought this up and showed me. He put all these extenders on, and it is all running from the badge. The badge is powering all that with the new extender board. So I was quite happy that that works that well, and was able to power. It probably won't power it for long, but it does work.
Yeah, you're not getting a lot of battery life out of that.
No.
Fun fact, we had tested out powering things from the badge originally in Mike's shop, and we tried to power a 10 by 10, and it worked, but everything was flickering and just draining power and just sucking it down. And about a week later, whatever it was, that badge tried to cook itself and tried to light on fire.
Yep.
So
Yep.
It got up. How hot was it?
on my IR, I had 360 degrees for that chip.
Yeah. The battery charger chip locked up, so it's internal
Yeah,
MOSFETs.
internal MOSFET, yeah.
It locked on and just
If
cooked
you
itself.
could not try to power a 10 by 10 with your badge, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We don't like fires.
No, fires are bad.
You might.
And then this awesome guy who happens to be running AV over here for us, he got this Pip-Boy thing and mounted his badge on it. It's awesome. So that was part of our original inspiration for the badge design. That and if any of you have played the game Helldivers, that's the other inspiration for this. We're like, we want to do that in real life, so we did it. You guys got anything else you want to add?
Did you guys like the joystick add-on for the arrows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I added support for that. What was it? The same night that I got the shop working, I think? Or was it no, that was the next night. Okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't in there either.
Yeah,
You can
Wednesday
also
night.
buy those little pointing sticks from the laptops from AliExpress, and you get a big box of them for cheap.
Yeah, so fun fact about that. Months ago, we were, working on badge stuff, and Clipper mentioned the little nubbins from the the laptops, and I was like, I wonder if we can get those. So I ordered 200 of them from AliExpress that night, and then they showed up, and I'm like, we should put these on the badge somehow. So we came up with that joystick mini badge and did that. So that was a very random thing, but it worked out well.
That's how a lot of stuff happens. We'll be sitting there working on something in the shop, and someone will like have an idea, and then everyone just goes silent, and you hear keyboards clacking. We're all buying things from China, is what we're doing.
So much scope creep.
Oh my gosh.
Like all the stuff in the vending machine that was like the kind of like widgets and stuff, like the USB testers, all that stuff, was just random things we kept finding on China. We're like, that'll be cool. Yeah. And I think we're on a lot of like do not deliver lists for our FedEx friends, our UPS friends, our USPS friends. The FedEx guy gave me the stink eye last time I was at your house. Like I was walking in with a box and he looked at me, he's like, do I look like a joke to you? I had not considered that. I did grab it off your doorstep and put it in my car, didn't I? Mystery solved. But yeah, just to say, like, it's a lot of work, but it's a labor of love. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or like want to talk more about it, we'll be around or whatever. If you hated it, sorry.
So yeah, we're pretty much out of time. We do not want to take extra mini badges home because they won't work in future years, right? They're useless to us. So do not ambush the people at Badge Life, okay? Once we get down there, we will hand them out. Yes, all of us. Once we are down there, we will hand them out to whoever wants them because we don't want them. So there's an hour before closing, and we want them all gone by closing. So, and if you have questions, come down, talk to us. Thank you, everyone. Oh, man.
Check, 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 check. Test one, check, test two. check, 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 check. Test 1, test 2.
Thanks. Yep. Okay. There's one for audience participation too already. There's one for audience participation. Thank you. Oh, mic check, check, check. Okay, thank you. Yep. Just grab. No audio on the slides. They're static. Just do. Because of course they are. I need my water bottle.
And do you want me to drive the slide deck as well?
I'm glad to drive. I'll let you drive when it starts time to dig in.
Right arrow keys, bottom right.
Thanks. Well, good morning. Can you hear me? I didn't think so. Oh, now there we go. Good morning. Welcome to the Hackers Challenge Shakedown. You sound about like I expect you to sound because you probably didn't sleep. And say, thankfully, I slept just fine this last night. Probably my best night of sleep all week because we dropped Double Jeopardy and didn't have to worry about it anymore. For those of you that haven't played the Hackers Challenge, Double Jeopardy is a round of puzzles that get released in the last 24 hours just to encourage players to not get any sleep. Dig deep, and toss the board up and down and make it really confusing on to who might actually win. But it's a lot of fun. This year for Hackers Challenge Shakedown, I'm Zevlag, and I couldn't have done it without my amazing team, Santiago and Rigel. Big applause to them. But second of all, couldn't have done it without you as well, all the players. Thank you for your support and for your love and for playing the Hackers Challenge. Your excitement and encouragement is why we do this. We love to see the puzzled faces. We love to hear the, well, how'd you do that? Or the, you suck, because that was a lot of work. Thank you to all those that submitted puzzles. Beyond Santiago and Rigel, there are others amongst us that contribute puzzles and help develop this game every year, and we appreciate those insights and the deep expertise and knowledge that contributes to this. This year, on the game board, we had 64 unique challenges. In some ways, more, in some ways less than previous years. It depends on which categories you're counting, but a nice number that is respectable for those of us like the symmetry of the number 64. 2 of them went unsolved. One of them required an O-Day, so we kind of expected that. If any of you are hiding an O-Day in your pocket and didn't expose it at the healthcare village, I'd love to hear about it. And the other was intriguing and fun RE puzzle designed by Professor Plum. I suggest digging deeper on that one and solving it after the con. You'll learn a lot. 344 of you registered to play. I can't actually see past these lights to see how many of you were out there, but 344 is a good number of players. That is a record. That is a record of registration. Yeah, definitely. What was even the better record, though, was the 251 of you that actually completed a puzzle. So that one is a record. I think last year's was around 220 that participated and completed a puzzle. And I love this number, that's 96 of you that actually completed more than 10 puzzles. I didn't actually run the numbers to see how many of those were just Hacker Jeopardy, but nonetheless, you engaged and you played. That's pretty awesome. So some fun stats here. I'm going to bend over, and because I'm using Rigel laptop, so you don't get sick of me zooming in and flying all over the screen. But so most solves was a puzzle designed by Santiago that you guys absolutely loved. I was just blown away at the involvement on playing Hex Sudoku. Last year we had some fun Sudoku puzzles. This year we upped it with Hex Sudoku, and you guys absolutely loved them. Most solves was on Tuesday Small Puzzle. Mediums may have got more to take, but we had some hiccups there, but we solved them. Fewest solves was, of course, this puzzle Twisted. This was our Double Jeopardy that got dropped, reverse engineering puzzle. One of you solved it. Out of time with 0 puzzles from Professor Plum, and then the Healthcare 0 Day for fewest solves. And then the person with the most solves on the game board was Zonifer, solving 60 out of the 64 puzzles. So these are always the fun ones, the most incorrect attempts. So most incorrect attempts was Know Your Malware. Somehow, with my clue, you could not guess the I love you virus. Really? Are you all that young? Per person, 367 guesses were for the most incorrect guesses. I think you know who you are. Total overall, we had almost 10,000 submissions with a fairly even split, a fairly clean split at a third of them being correct. So it's actually really good stats. We had a lot less guessing this year than we've had in past years. I feel the past years we've got that number up to like 85% of incorrect submissions. So you guys were a lot more confident in what you were submitting. So that is our stats that I want to share with you. And this time is up to you guys to drive. What do you want to know about? Which challenge did you hate? Which challenge did you love? Which one did you think I hate? You need to tell me about this.
So I wrote that one, and I didn't know anything about the method that was used for it until I think Monday afternoon. So you got to experience me going, wow, that's really cool. All right, so that is a cipher called Solfa, S-O-L-F-A. The date's significant because the date you use to get the key. And by key here, I'm not talking about the cryptographic key. I'm talking about the musical key. It turns out it's in G major. It has eighth notes are what you use for counting. And I watched some folks really struggle with this. And I actually sat down to help one. I drew the line at trying to teach them music theory from first principles.
So let me call out here. I hope you remember the cipher in particular, but sol, fa being the first two notes of your scale, and thus the name of the cipher.
So let me show you what the challenge looks like for the folks that didn't look at it. So this is all you get. Take a break and listen to my new tune. I wrote it on October 21st. The date is what gives you the key for the Solfa cipher. And then I gave you a MIDI file. The idea was you could take the MIDI file, turn it back into a musical staff, and then decode it with Solfa.
So we've done many musical puzzles in the past years, and I have found that we have a small intersection in our Venn diagram of hackers and musicians. And so they're kind of fun to see when we overlap them, who of you pop out that, hey, this is cool. Yeah. Thanks, Rachel. I want to talk about one. Let's talk about my category of out and about. How many of you felt like that was a nuisance and a pain? Okay, there's a few. How many of you loved it? Okay. So out and about was a category of QR codes. I was hoping to encourage you to learn a little bit about the design of QR codes and encourage you to have a little bit of teamwork and get out and make some friends.
So where were they?
Yeah, so where were they? Stage one was in the elevators. It was a single QR code split into 4 pieces, one in each elevator, and you just had to take a picture of them, paste them together, and you could scan the QR code with a movie quote and the question of who said it? I think it was a who said it. And so you just had to answer who said that quote. The next one was a single QR code split into 6 pieces. And this was fun because half of them were in the men's bathrooms and half of them were in the women's bathrooms. So you either had to be extravagantly brave and knock on a door and make sure it was empty before you went in and took a picture of the QR code, or you hopefully the preferred method was to find a teammate, someone to help you to work on this challenge together. And so what was unique about these is you would know that this is where they were because the QR codes were symbolized at the bottom right-hand corner with the male and the female sex symbol. And so it was kind of a clue that, hey, oh yeah, this QR code is going to be in another gendered restroom. And then the third one is where most of you started this challenge and realized what we were getting at, was a timed drop 6 times throughout the conference with 49 pieces of a single QR code that I would then flash mob and hand out the QR code to everybody in the area And you'd have to form a team to get enough pieces together to be able to scan this. I did include enough error correction so that you could miss maybe like 4 to 6 pieces and be okay. Yeah, about 20%, I think. So you can lose a few, but I love to see those of you that taped it together and were carrying around your backpack, or those of you that brought it from drop to drop so that you could get all the pieces you needed. Even better were those of you that got everybody around and said, okay, I see what's happening. Let's all of you bring your pieces over. That was great. And so that was the category that I really enjoyed seeing you guys get out and about, and looking around, moving around, and hopefully making another friend and doing something together. So questions about the interlude. I talked about out and about. Next up, what do you guys want to know about? So
I am the lazy professor.
you'll find that we enjoy JIT challenges. We do them almost every year because there is so much depth into the way that we use our code pipelines and the secrets that JIT can hide that we just don't realize. And so this was inspired by a real-world incident that Rigel took suggestion on and made it into a lazy professor scenario for us.
So one of the things that happens in the background between, say, October and October is Zevlag drops, hey, I think this might make a good challenge to just drop a link into a Discord that we keep. And he dropped this one. So here's the clue. Professor Rigel found an assignment for his data structures course, and he joined an organization. So did anybody have trouble finding their organization? Okay, good. So the organization I joined was Hackers Challenge 2024. Wanted to make that obvious. And I say that I cloned the repo to make my own version. So the idea here is when you delete a repository, it's not really gone if it was a public repository. You can go back through Git history and recover it. There's a site called GHArchive, which gathers every public commit on Git, on GitHub. And you can query that database to say, find a username named Rigel, W-R-I-G-J-L, and find out what commits I did on July 31st. Now, it'll be for a repo that doesn't exist, but you can still query commits for repos that don't exist anymore. And that is based on, say, I think Truffle Security made it popular several months ago.
Yep. So Truffle Security is well known for the Truffle Hog, one of their products they have. One of the applications they developed to help you search JIT histories. But they generally, most of you used it, and were searching just the particular repo, and were looking through commit history for other repos, and missed the whole element of how GitHub works significantly different from JIT itself.
Yes. Yeah, and I think a lot of folks went down and started reading the textbook, which is a great textbook, by the way. I've been editing for the past couple of months, but it had nothing to do with the challenge. So if I pigeonholed you, sorry. So is there any other questions about it? Okay, that's also me. Yeah, so Twisted is also one of mine. So I like to inflict on you the stuff I have to deal with. So, what's that? Oh, so I like to inflict on you what I have to deal with. So Twisted is a challenge that's just like that. So let me, there's not much there. It's a double. And it's just a binary. And if you type the right words on the command line, it will say success. All right, so the binary is not at all obfuscated unless you consider C++ obfuscation.
I do. I hate to reverse engineer C++. Yeah. You add the standard templating, and it's gross.
So the easy, well, okay, not the easy way. The hard part about that challenge is figuring out what, say, Ghidra does with the mangled file names, or mangled function names, with operator, less than, type this, all that type information that C++ has to carry around. makes it difficult to reverse engineer. But once you do, the actual challenge itself is not that bad. The key is stored in the binary. The other thing that's interesting is I used the Marseille twister as a stream cipher, and I think I just took the default random number generator engine for getting random numbers. So part of the key is stored in the binary. The other part of the key comes out of the Marseille twister as a stream cipher.
I was impressed to see that the one person that solved this puzzle had it done by like 1:13 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, and so that would have been 7 hours.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be glad to give you the source code. You could do that too. You could also reverse engineer it. So either way would work. It was the one thing that kind of made it difficult, but I didn't think it was that big of a bar. It was for ARM64.
So ARM64 being you could run it on your MacBook. You could spin up a free instance on Hetzner, a cheap instance on AWS.
That's what I did.
So lots of ways to approach that.
I think that challenge cost me $3.
Okay. What are the questions? You're going to hear a very fun story about, he's going to tell you about what inspired this and why he did it. Don't believe him.
Gosh, what is the story?
When you pigeonholed me.
Oh. So, yeah, okay, so I put on my, Zevlag's not easy to rabbit hole, but I put on my CV last year that I rabbit holed Zevlag. So I told you that, so what you get is a file that has nothing but hex in it, and they're all of fixed length. They all should be 128 bits, and I tell you, it's encrypted with AES 256, so it's trivial to decode, right? That's Nobel Prize material. Yeah, be waiting on your call from Sweden. So there's got to be something more to it. So I remember the song from REM, and the point of this challenge is if you look at the frequency of occurrence of each of the big long numbers that's in there, you'll notice that it kind of resembles English letter frequencies, because it is. And if you take one number and assign it the letter A, the next unique one assign it the letter B, and then throw it into a cryptogram solver, you can solve this puzzle. The What's the Frequency, Kenneth is an REM song, which turns out to be about a really weird incident where Dan Rather got mugged. That has nothing to do with the challenge, but the frequency was the part I was hoping you'd walk away from that. Is that you're trying to do frequency counting.
It's a simple substitution cipher.
It's a substitution cipher. I use AES as a substitution cipher.
While we're on crypto, I'll take a moment to talk about Untitled for you. Some of you got way distracted on Untitled for a long time. You'd throw it into, somehow you'd pull Unicode characters out of this and wonder what it was. Yep, no, so when you pull up the Untitled puzzle, there's a single file attached to it, and when you open it, it looks very blank. Do you have Notepad++? I think Notepad will work. Or just any text editor should work, but. So this Untitled puzzle, you open up and you see a whole bunch of nothing. Thus the clue, I think I forgot something. I apologize for the typo. There was missing an E, I think, in my clue. So some of you got rabbit holed by the missing E, or something. Yes. But so I'll highlight this here, and it gives you a little bit of what you were seeing here. And you'll notice in first occurrence that there's different lengths lines here. And by sheer luck, my flag actually happened to be 26 lines long. This was actually a really good clue that was unintentional. 26 here, so it's a simple alphabet. But the solve for this one is to count the number of spaces in each line and assign that a number. So the first line has 5 spaces in it, so it's, and the next, so you F, and then so the third one down right here is 1 space. So that's the first letter in the alphabet. It's A, and so it's a real simple A equals 1 cipher with spaces. But several of you got it. Several of you were like, it took you a long time trying to, you copied it onto web interfaces, looked and found Unicode in it, and it was interesting. Okay, next questions. Out of time. That one's unsolved, right? Yeah. This was a beautiful one that Professor Plum built for me, and I don't remember the solve because I put it on the game board 4 months ago. I worked through the solves, and I don't remember what that one was. Oh, Plum's here? Come on, Plum. Come tell us about it.
Please don't clap, because that one's extremely evil. I'm actually, and it's actually going to be used in another competition, or at least a variant of it. So please don't post this online. But that one, the other competition said, hey, we want something hard, like really hard. And Zevlag's always said, yeah, give me something hard too. So I just went all out. It is the intent behind At a Time is that it is a multi-threaded application that it depends highly on the thread interactions amongst each other. So that if you attach a debugger, you have broken the thread interaction. By just pausing for half a second, you will have broken the action timing, and then you're not able to do it. So there are ways to solve it with a debugger, but you have to have the debugger take actions. So let me explain this again. So if you've looked at the code, there is a key, right, that's based on the string you put in, and then it does a number of XOR, byte swap, shift right, shift left operations, and you just have to get them in the right order, and if it matches, then it's right. And each thread does some operations on there, and you can static and analyze it to look at that, but it's using a bunch of mutexes where one thread will grab the mutex, the other thread's waiting for that mutex, another thread is waiting for that second thread to finish, and then besides those threads all chaining on each other, there's a 5th thread that fires every half a second. And so that's like, it's a bounce around game, and you can static and analyze to do it. That's the hard road. The easy road is I would suggest you take like WinDebug and set a breakpoint on each of those operations that modify the flag, like set a breakpoint at the X or set a breakpoint at the right shift, left shift, and then just have it print out, I was here, and then quickly resume execution. And then you'll get a list of like XOR ran, and you get a list of what ran in what order, and then you can just write like a Python script to back up from the value it compares against back up to the key and go in reverse. That's what I would suggest.
Thanks, Plum. Hey, keep it for just a second. Plum contributed a whole line of awesome puzzles. I was working on a 16-bit RE one for this challenge, and then Plum said, hey, I got one for you. And so comparing the two, I loved what he provided. So tell him about that 16-bit. And
the 16-bit one I liked it just because it levels the playing field. Typically, somebody who's got like IDA Pro license kind of has an advantage at RE, in my opinion. But a 16-bit binary, all of the tools equally just flop at, right? Like they're not expecting 30-year-old code to be RE'd at this day and time. So they all really sucked at that code. I think if it wasn't a 16-bit binary, it wouldn't have been so hard. Those that solved it, you can tell that there are, or even if you looked at it, the license check has like 12 rules it has to meet. This section has to be this value. There can be no 6s in the first. These two XOR together is this. And if you just put those rules together, you can solve it pretty easily. The problem is the decompilers don't do a good job explaining what those rules are because they're not very good at decompiling this code.
Kind of like
C++, yes.
Thanks, Plum. Appreciate it. Santi, coming up and tell us about your Hexdoku and the fun you had building that.
Sure. So actually, you were solving the same Hexdoku all the time. So yeah. So
pull one up for him.
Sorry?
Pull one up on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Click through.
So see if I can do that. So the way I created this was going from the concept of, what could happen if Sudoku is Sudoku is bigger, right? We have 16 characters, and I cannot find it. Okay, all the way.
That was it. You were in it.
Did I?
All the way at the top.
Okay, so let's grab this one. So I started from that concept, right? And basically, what I did, I grabbed one 16 by 16, completely white. I found one solution, and I say, okay, if I use this, I can flip the numbers, I can rotate the numbers, and it's always going to be a valid solution. So that's what I did, and then I choose the gray spots to create a Sudoku. But you can see that there are patterns. It's like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC to F, and those are everywhere, but in different directions. So yeah, so that's what I did. So you were solving the same thing over and over.
Yes, we do that to you.
And I do want to say, so there were teams that use Python to solve this. That was awesome. There were teams that asked ChatGPT to come up with a solution. There were teams that found, not teams, like people that play, that found an online solver for this type of Sudokus too. So there were multiple ways to solve them. I solved them manually to make sure that that could be done and that anybody could do it. Right.
Thank you. What other questions do we have? Which puzzles do you want to hear about? Mask.
Oh, mask it. So, okay. Is it Wednesday? It's Tuesday. So, Masked is related to these ones too. So where's the double? Okay, yeah. If you can open double check.
We're good hackers, and we love building these puzzles for you, but we don't know how to run a scoreboard in a computer.
Yeah, we do. So, the idea with Masked was, you've been solving Sudoku a lot, and what can we do with that? So my idea was basically mask one Sudoku and find a message there. So if you open the file, you will see that it looks like a large Sudoku, 16 by 16, and it will have Fs and other characters. So basically, the first thing you have to realize is this is a big Sudoku, a large Sudoku. And the second part is, okay, but I have 3 large Sudokus that I need to mask with this. You need to figure out which one of those 3. The big insight is, technically all those Sudokus can have multiple solutions by different people. So I can only mask boxes that were gray because those are the same for everybody. So you need to figure out which of the 3 ones you need to mask with this. And it turns out it was the Tuesday one, I believe, yeah. And then just run, mask. If you have an F, it's going to be the same character that you found in the gray.
So yeah, masking was taking and overlaying these zeros and ones on top of the Sudoku that you had solved previously, or that was available on the game board.
And the mask is basically an AND operation, bitwise. And yeah, so we added a few like ones, and yeah, we got rid of the 3s, just to throw you off a little bit, but that was it.
Thank you, Santi. Anything else? Any awesome solves you want to share with us? Things you learned?
Okay.
Oh, you want to tell us about it? You want to tell us? This mic's live out here if you want to tell us about it.
Oh, you wanted to know about it or wanted to talk about solve?
No, just how to solve it.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you could go down several paths with that one. You could reverse engineer it, and I think some folks went down that path, but I know at least one of the folks who helps us out at the table solved it. Well, he actually kind of did both ways. He used Ghidra to look at it and then realized that it's a simple buffer overflow.
You want to demo it? Oh.
Yeah. Well, I get set up. So I can't remember the name of the machine. Oh, there it is. And did anybody notice that? So you get logged into this machine, and if you did ifconfig, you don't have a network interface.
Once you pwned it, did you explore?
Yeah, you should always explore. Anytime somebody gives you a shell, you should explore. Let's see, HC24. Okay. And you're stuck. You're in this. There we go. Let's do that. All right. So there's a file called key, which you can't see. Permission denied. Sad. But there's a binary called first. What do you want to say for yourself? And it prints some hex stuff. So anytime somebody gives you a prompt.
Explore. What?
Huh. And let's try something else. I should have given you bash. Sorry about that. This 1001 is not equal to 25548. But when I ran it with a whole bunch of stuff, I got this really weird number here. Let's try it with A. Oops. Not find 61616161. That's the letter A in hex. So somehow I am getting A's where they shouldn't be. It should be the number 25548 is what I'm looking for. So now you have to find the right length of string and then which characters will equal to 25448 in hex. And I can give away the two letters if you'd like. They're HC. But I think you have to do 20 A's and then or 20 of anything followed by HC. What's that? Well, that presumes I can count. Yeah. Yeah, not intentional. Oh, yeah, and the other thing is I put a time on it because I didn't know how long. I didn't want to use up resources.
Didn't want you to burn our boxes, but it's not.
I could have made it longer.
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, I've got a pound sign prompt. Wonder what I could do with that.
And we got the key.
That's it.
Now they ask. Now here.
So you're actually SSH into a Docker container which has no privileges and no network. It's connected just via TDY. That's also why you can't SCP into the machine or SFTP.
Okay. Thanks, Rigel. Appreciate it. Next questions? I feel like we're about getting close to wrapping up everything you guys want to know, but don't want to leave you hanging. Oh, yep. Will you use the mic for us? We can all hear it. Thank you.
I just thought this was really funny. For the out and about ones, I got all the pieces of the QR codes, and then there's like an online like QR, like you can like insert like manually. I just like went through and like marked all of the boxes as like what they were. So I like went through and marked every black box and then every white box, and then just like hit decode.
So you rebuilt the QR code piece by piece.
Yeah, because it wouldn't scan on my phone. So
that's
I was like,
awesome.
I need the flags.
How many of you watched the Veritasium video that I posted in Discord about QR codes? Did you see it? I hope you learned a little bit. They're fascinating. Hey, thank you then. We'll call that the wrap for the Hackers Challenge for 2024. I really appreciate you playing, and I hope you play next year. Yes? Yeah, he's asking about XSS 0, 1, 2, and 3, and why he's able to get the same solution to work on all three of them.
Right. So actually, I designed those. So the idea was you need technically you need a harder payload as you increase the level. However, if I'm sure that the payloads for level 7 will work on most of the previous one, right? So I was kind of like, I didn't want to penalize somebody that was very smart and not let that person solve the easy levels just because that was.
So you used an advanced payload, something that was to exploit a higher level, would work on all lower ones.
Yeah. That's great. So that whole category was like very open. Actually, the XS server was sending requests just like you were. So there were multiple solutions for any level, and you could be as creative as you wanted to be.
There were limitations, and they were different as you progressed and got harder, but there were ways that...
Yeah.
So.
And ways I didn't think about. So, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, one more question? I will guarantee the Hackers Challenge and services will stay live for at least a week till November 1st, likely through the weekend of November 1st, and then so somewhere around the 3rd, I intend to shut them down. Now, if I get lazy and forget about it, it could be longer, but I can guarantee a week, probably the 3rd.
and we tend to release the source code of some of those, and since we develop locally, there is a Docker container that will, or a Docker compose file that will help you to run those locally.
Thank you. And then join us for closing ceremonies in about 15 minutes, and we will reveal the final scores and for this contest and all the others. So, and thanks for playing Hackers Challenge. Thank you so much, Santi.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Rigel.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Just reveal them. I'll be able to see it on the website. I gotta hit the road, but I'll be able to
Yes.
check the website.
Yes. Yeah. Are you playing, or just you're just curious?
Oh no, I'm playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your handle?
Viking.
You're Viking. Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a blast. I usually do.
Yep.
Play.
Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, I got the breakfast one, and I got hooked. I was
Okay? Um, Hello? Hello? Welcome to the closing ceremonies for SAINTCON 2024. We're excited that you're here. All right, so I'm Seth, and I'm here for the closing ceremonies to thank you for attending SAINTCON and say goodbye from all of us to all of you. We want to send out a great big thank you to our incredible community that puts SAINTCON together, all of the volunteers and supporters and everyone who has helped with this. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much for all the hours of service and commitment to make this thing great. Did it work? Yeah. All right. So you may not know, but this conference is put on by the Utah Saint Organization. The Utah Saint Organization is the nonprofit that runs this conference. We run this conference every year. It is an organization that does things year-round, and we encourage you to get involved and become members of the Utah Saint Organization to further your involvement in the community and ideally increase your capabilities and help yourselves and your organizations to grow and learn. We also want to make sure that you understand this event is made possible by an all-volunteer SAINTCON planning committee. I'd like all the committee members to stand up. Jupiter, our leader, fearless leader, and anyone else who's a committee member. For those of you who don't know, planning for this event started at this time last year. We've been planning this event for a long time. There have been countless hours put in by each of these people. Thank you very much for your service and your commitment to our community. The number one most asked question that we get every single year at SAINTCON is, how do I get involved as a volunteer or staff or committee member? Please join our Discord channel and watch our website to see when the announcement for the call for each of these things happen. We officially announce a call for a committee and a call for staff members and a call for volunteers. If you want to get involved in these things, there is a process. You just submit your information on that and you will be considered. I also recommend that you get to know people who are here today, who are committee and staff and volunteers, to learn a little bit more about what they do and how you might be able to help. We also want to thank our event partners, CompuNet and Valcom. Let's give a great round of applause to them and their support for this event. They have been strong supporters of SAINTCON for a number of years. We're proud to have them as our event partners. And we also have a number of sponsors for SAINTCON. So thank you to each and every one of our sponsors for your contributions to our community and to our event. All right, just a little bit about the numbers. This event is just you and about a little over 1,850 of your closest friends. This is our biggest event yet. It was super exciting to get all this put together. We actually sold out the conference in 2 weeks. If you're planning on attending SAINTCON next year, we recommend that you watch the announcements for when that comes out. We expect it to perform similarly. We had about 600 people on the wait list by last count. Next item, we noticed that there was a lot more demand for the 10 by 10 mini badge boards than we anticipated, and we did not have enough. If you are interested in getting a 10 by 10 mini badge extender board, this is your key to do that. This is a one-question survey. All you have to do is fill out your email address, and you'll be contacted with more information about how to get a 10 by 10 board if you weren't able to get one here or if you need others. All right, next, I beg you, please fill out our survey. We feel like we put on a great event, and I hope that you agree. We appreciate your participation in this event, and we also put on this event for you to learn and enjoy. If you have some feedback or you would like to provide some feedback about your experience, this is the official way to do it. Please scan this QR code, and when you do that, fill out your information about how you enjoyed the conference or what things you think need to be improved or changed for next year so that we can do an even better job next year. All right, next, I want to welcome to the stage the badge team. Come on up. There they are. And if you have not yet participated in the badge talk that happened earlier, that's going to be posted online for you to view for more of the details. But we'd like to invite the badge team to come on up here for a quick conversation about the badge and maybe some of the statistics of the badge usage during the conference. Welcome, badge team. Step out of the way here. Take it away, Mike. Yeah.
Hey, everyone. Hope you all really enjoyed the badge this year. So we had tons of fun making it, and also lots of tears and loss of sleep. But it seemed like it went really well for people here. We had 1,393 badges registered, which is about 75% of you, which is amazing. So thank you for actually using the badge and playing the game. So now that's how many badges registered. Everyone actually played the game, right? We had 640 badges actually participate in a battle. So that's pretty good. Was that 40, 35, 40%? People actually played the game. So even though there were issues with some of the towers, 271 battles. Amazing. It was 27,000 attacks by the people that played. Let's see. How many of you actually went to communities and got level ups from them? Awesome. That was one of the main things we wanted to drive is community engagement. Any guesses on who gave out the most level ups? Which community? Nope. Briefs by far. So they gave out 624 level ups. Yeah. Yeah. The next highest was around 120, so that's awesome. So for those of you who weren't at the badge talk, this is our badge team. I'm CompuKid Mike. This is Redacted, Clipper, Vortex, Mike's wife, and BP. They all put in hundreds of hours and many sleepless nights, and they deserve way more applause.
Yes, they do.
before I award our prize. Do any of you want to say anything? No? That's fine. That's
Do you have the best stat? You got that one, right?
The what?
Do you have Odie's stat?
Not on me. It was high. I don't remember. Do you remember the exact number?
Oh, what was it at?
I wasn't actually going to call her out. But
So a lot of you enjoyed the game, and we appreciate that. A lot of you really liked mashing buttons on your badge as well. If anyone's curious who fell to Clippy's Towers the most, it was Odie. Last night it was at 127 deaths.
disconnects.
Disconnects, yes.
We're not dying.
We were going to pull that number right now because it's worthy of looking up.
The next closest was 56.
239. The second most disconnections, 33.
All right, so we didn't really have an end to the badge game or anything like that, and so there wasn't really anything to win other than lots of awesome prizes in the vending machines. So we wanted to pick a winner that wasn't necessarily the person who played the most or who got the most XP or whatever. We picked the person who revived the most players. They were the one who spent their time helping other people instead of attacking more. And that person was, their handle was McFate, with 122 people revived.
Wow.
If you're here, come on up. Are they here? No? Maybe? They're reviving people. Yeah, right. Oh, we've got a prize for them. And then, Troy, we have a prize for you. So the comic book that we made was in large part thanks to Troy and helping us get it actually over the finish line and get it produced and everything. So we got posters printed of all the comic book pages and everything. So thank you. Sweet. All right, I think that's all we got. Thank you.
All right. Great big thanks to the badge team for their excellent work and for all the competitors. That's some crazy numbers. Next, happy birthday, Wyatt Cox. So you may have noticed a few mini badges floating around here. We saw at least 340 different mini badges this year, which is a new record for us. Quick thanks to Luke for coming up with the mini badge idea and making my life a whole lot more difficult to make a lot of those things. We hope you had fun with the mini badges. If you're interested in the mini badges and you notice some of the trading, you didn't have mini badges to trade this year, please join our Discord community. There's a mini badge channel in our Discord community where you can learn how to make mini badges, and we encourage you to do so. Speaking of that, our Discord is discord.gg/SAINTCON. I'll give you just a minute to take a picture or add that to your notes before we move on. This is the fastest and easiest and perhaps primary method of engagement that our community has year-round. So if you want to know what's going on, this is the place to go. This is where you can get answers to your questions. This is where you can interact with your peers. And this is also likely where we're going to announce our first announcement of SAINTCON 2025 registration. So please join. Anyone need another minute? All right. We also want to give a great big thank you to our keynotes, Dave and Jack and Amanda. Let's hear it for some incredible speakers this year for keynotes. We are so grateful to them for coming to our conference and being willing to share their expertise and their knowledge with us. We also want to give a great big thank you to all of our contests, communities, and events. I want to invite Zodiac and Zevlag and Odie. I think there's one more on here. Oh, and Tiffany, yes. Tiffany and the Family Night Committee and the Widows for their contributions to the Family Night thing. Come on stage.
So as we come on stage, I want to compliment Seth. He says that Discord is the best way to get a hold of people. How often a month do you check Discord?
Oh, well.
Calling him out.
I would like to point out that it might just be a you that I'm ignoring, buddy.
Fair,
I check Discord pretty frequently, but maybe not for you.
Oh, what's this?
I love it. I love it.
What's this?
We'd also like to welcome to the stage the Martians.
Love it.
There's so many hips.
Don't trip. Don't fall.
Don't fall.
I especially like that the eyeballs are in the back of their heads. It's a whole new level right there, man.
That's why they're running into things.
All right. You guys are up?
Yay. While he sets up, do you want to say something about events? Do you have a slide for her? I don't. Okay, do you want to talk while he sets up?
Okay. Hi, I'm Odie. I'm going first. Thank you all for coming to the events that we had this year. They were really great. Long line and standing room only for something I heard about. I saw somebody with this hat on their head. It was kind of shiny. That seemed to go well. We had our first ever AppSec Jeopardy this year, and
I saw pictures of marshmallows in mouth. Were you guys playing the marshmallow game and I missed it?
That was one of our double Jeopardies. You had to read the terms and conditions to Spotify while having 3 marshmallows in your mouth. They passed that one. It was great. I had so much fun at that. I really hope it comes back next year. And
don't steal music.
Y'all missed out if you weren't there. It was really great. I saw a bunch of people playing golf around the venue, so that was awesome. We had all of our fun after hours with LAN Party and Hack in the Box. So it was a great time. I went and hung out. It was awesome to meet and talk with various of you in the community. That's why I like events, is because you get the time to spend with other people and get to know people, and it was a lot of fun. So thanks for coming to events, making events great, and come to more events next year.
Thanks, Odie. Okay, who did something in a community this year? Who learned something new they didn't know before in a community this year? Who had fun in a community this year? Who told me a dad joke this year? These are my people. Communities are why I come back to SAINTCON. Every year my wife talks to me about, last week actually she did, and she says, we need to have a talk about next year and your involvement in SAINTCON. And I say, last week I said, you're right, we definitely need to have a talk about my involvement in SAINTCON. And then I come and hang out in the communities and see people learning, see people meeting new friends, see people talking to new people. And all of a sudden I say, we're not talking about my involvement in SAINTCON next year. I'm here because of you. I'm here because I love watching people learn. I love watching people make friends. I've seen people make career moves and advance their life through these communities. And I love everything about what happens in these, and it happens not because of me. I can't do it. It happens because of you, because of the awesome staff, the awesome volunteers, but also the people that go and participate and engage. So heartfelt thank you to everyone for making the communities the awesome thing that they are. Thank you for coming to SAINTCON. Thank you for doing these things and for learning and for helping me grow, but also helping the person next to you at the table grow. So thank you very much.
So, I got it. So that being said, for communities, for contests, for events, we want your feedback. So once again, the same QR code. If you missed it the first time, it'll be here again at the end. You loved our contests. I know many of you come just to play contests. Amongst all the other content, it's a way for you to show off. It's a way for you to learn. It's a way for you to figure out what you don't know. So thanks for playing. We upped it this year with 2 new contests, and you guys rocked and played tons. So here's how this go. I'm going to tell you about the contest a little bit. A quick overview of like 10 seconds maybe for each one. I'm going to announce winners, and we'll get done with this. When your name is called at the end of closing ceremonies, when this is all done, please come on up to the front, and we'll award those prizes that are deserved. So, first contest I'm going to call out here is the AppSec contest and their challenge. They really upped their game this year and provided something challenging and complex to help those coders and those pipelines in that environment so that you can dig into Java instead of Python this year, right? Yeah. But thank you to the AppSec Challenge, and to our 4th place winner, Tuck Toaster. 3rd place winner, Overllama. 2nd place winner, Tofu. And to our 1st place winner for AppSec Challenge, Lego Clones. Another new contest this year, well, a new contest this year we really appreciate showing up was the CTF Blue Team style. You guys have always asked, hey, we want more Blue Team content. We love the Hackers Challenge. We love what you guys bring, but bring on the Blue Team stuff. And so we're adding that every year, and I love to see the involvement that was introduced with this new CTF. I hope you had fun with it. I don't have any particular stats to tell you, but I'm going to announce the winners. These are in the wrong order. First place winner, actually I probably only have just first place. First place winner is Taters and the Team Taters. This was a team of 4, and from what I heard, they actually really rocked it. So congratulations. Okay, next contest that returned this year was LAN cable contest. It was first year last year. Thanks to Vortex and his creation of that, you guys had tons of fun, and I love to see you guys playing with it this year. It only took a minute of your time if you were as fast as the winners. And some of them took 10 minutes if you're like Zodiac. LAN cable contest was a way to release a little bit of stress, to do something different, maybe to get your hands on something solid. So to announce the shortest times, we have 3rd place, the Ham Fried Rice, 1 minute and 6 to build a Cat 5 both ends. 2nd place, we had Walt at 59 seconds. And these last 2 records were set this morning, moments before the contest closed at 10. They were battling back and forth, shaving off over 10 seconds of time, with 1st place winner Kakashi at 54 seconds. Next contest, we had the Fox Hunt Challenge. They won't be awarding prizes for this one right now, but their prizes were awarded as they had over 20 people complete the full fox hunt, both indoors and outdoors. And they spent lots of time searching for little transmitters that were hidden in backpacks, roaming around the venue, or hidden under tables, or mounted on poles, and then placed at restaurants and businesses locally. Chased these down and located them with their antennas, and received prizes for their accomplishments. I hope they had fun, from what I hear they did, and I encourage you to try it out next year. Like I said, you guys always ask for the Blue Team content, so we upped it again. We added another new contest here that really complemented what was being done in Blue Team Community and Blue Team CTF, the So You've Been Hacked contest. And in this contest, you're given a laptop that's in the middle of a compromise, and you had to do incident response on it and stay in contact with the CISO. And these folks spent 2 whole days, digging into these laptops and responding to the CISOs, urgent emails, and give me updates, and investigating the compromise. And from what I hear, they had a lot of fun. 3rd place, we had the CSOC Boys. Second place, we had the Cyber Bros. And I'm going to stop there for a second and say I loved seeing the number of new teams and students and professionals that played this. It was awesome, so from beginner to expert that dug into the incident response scenarios. And first place, we had Seesaw Boys. I think I've got an error here. Let me look at my phone. So you've been hacked. Okay, so, and for first place, we have Quesadilla. There we go. First place for So You've Been Hacked, we have Quesadilla. I will update this slide and post it into the channel so that the record says straight. Tamper Evident contest. We had both an advanced and a beginner's challenge, and it's a long-standing tradition here at SAINTCON to bypass all sorts of tamper evidence and push barriers, and it's fun to see what tamper evidence has done with it as it grows every year. They down there on the floor, you might have seen those big old walls that they set up, and they put the semi-door latch, and you had to close that and get past the tamper evidence. I hope you had fun getting locked in and getting locked out. So for the beginner challenge, our winner, second place, is Session Bro. And first place for the beginner challenge is Collie. And the advanced challenge, they stepped it up, and our second place is Coda. With the first place of the Tamper Evident Challenge at SAINTCON Advanced Challenge being FFS. The Vault Challenge, a long-standing classic here at SAINTCON. I hope you enjoyed the redesign. How many of you got to play? Okay, there's a few of you here. I hope you enjoyed the redesign. We tried to bring it back to the roots of SAINTCON, where not only was it break into a single room, but you got break in and you got to move through this scenario and an experience breaking in and breaking out so that you could get away with the loot and score the points. We also had the spectator sport mode. Hopefully you enjoyed standing around and watching what was going on over the security cameras so that you could experience what the contestants might have been feeling. But honorable mentions, we have the USHE assessment team and the Bear Squatch team called out for some awesome efforts, and it was well noticed. As second place, DC 702. And the first place team for the Vault this year is Shiny Happy People. What was that? And RFID, this year we added a new challenge for you. I don't have the right logo up here, but RFID community brought, and Iceman brought the RFID CATF. And they totally brought a new level of competition to a technology that we've experienced many times here at SAINTCON and introduced a lot of cool challenges. It started out slow, wondering if, hey, is this actually gonna take off? Is anybody gonna play? And then the next couple of days, the number of contestants rocketed and the number of people playing surprised us and excited us. And so I wanted to express congratulations to those that played, and our third place winner, Max Power. Second place, we have Sputter. And first place of the RFID CTF Challenge, Short Range. I promise we're getting close to the end. We're almost done through all the challenges. We'll finish off here with the Hackers Challenge. The premier event here at SAINTCON that's been long running, founded by Jupiter way back when. This Hackers Challenge is the way to win the black badge and to waste an entire con. Waste, is that the right word? No, I really hope that it's not a waste for you, that you can enjoy getting exposed to the many various communities and showcasing your skills and making new friends. This year, for the Hackers Challenge, we had a whole shakedown earlier, but it was a great performance. A record number of players actually participating, and it was exciting. Our third place winner for the Hackers Challenge is Code Guru 42. Next up, we have our first place winner and Black Badge receiver for the Hackers Challenge 2024 of Overlama. This was a very well-deserved, very well-earned Black Badge. I love to see the players play and devote their efforts and their time at SAINTCON into learning and improving their abilities. Hackers Challenge is something I love, and I'm passionate about it. I've been running this for a long time, and it's exciting to see what it becomes. Our first place team, as Overlama, was well-deserved. But I had to call out an exception this year for our second place winner and also Black Badge recipient, Zonifer. He played against this well-competitive team and placed. I love to see cooperation and teamwork and devotion to the game. And the Overlama team, as they presented and they played, they excelled, and they deserved that first place win. And I saw the second place win come in, and it was well-deserved and earned by an individual. You've requested for years team play on the Hackers Challenge board, and it's something that I would love to provide and to support. And it'll be there someday. But this year, we have a first place and a second place winner of the Black Badge, a team and an individual that played and competed and earned it. That is our contest for SAINTCON 2024. They'll be back, and they'll be different and fun. I hope to see you next year, and that's all I have for slides. Leave us our feedback. Those of you that won prizes, come on to the front. I think, did you have more, Seth?
I got it, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can leave that up. All right, so we're at the end of the conference. Please accept our thanks to each of you for participating, being part of our community, and making SAINTCON great. It is this community that makes SAINTCON what it is, and we are so grateful to you. A round of applause for you. Thank you very much. Just a quick reminder, this is the link for feedback. We want your feedback. We want constructive feedback, even if it's things that you didn't like. We want to know. We want to make this conference better. We can only make it better if we know what it is you are seeing. We need your perspective, so please take a moment to fill out that feedback. We are at the end of the conference. There's probably some extra food outside. If you haven't had some or you'd like some more, please take it. Every year, everyone asks, how can I help? We got a lot of packing up to do to get this thing on the road and out of here. Number one, please look under you and find all the power cables, all the extension cords and power, I'm sorry, the power strips, not the power cables. The power strips, pull them out, put them on the tables on the ends so that we can grab them. Do not coil them, just put them on the ends so that we can grab them. All other help, unless you have been specifically asked to do it, or you have talked to a committee member, please don't try. We have a really special process to get this thing out of here. We need to follow that process. If you'd like to help additionally, you have some more time, please come talk to a committee member. That's all for us in SAINTCON 2024. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next year. Hello? If you are one of the contest winners, please come to the front here with Zevlag and Zodiac.